Hello, hello, hello. It's me doing a daily vlog. It is actually July 1st, 2026. Now, as you may or may not know, I do not track by times or months. The only thing I really focus on is if my shelter is ending and I need to remove myself. Um, I've been in a lifelong psychosis, and for the last 10 years, since 2015, going on the 11th year, I decided to break free of my DNA generational blood curse. Um, and that's what I am here orating about. You'll hear that this is a empty location. I'm not going to talk too much about where, who, where, and why because the point of my vlogging to myself via myself with my voice is August and Marie. August is my son. He was born October the 2nd, 2020, and my daughter was conceived April 2022. Um, I don't have any children in my physical realm. I live as a single American black woman. Interesting enough, if you do track when the whites did track me, and I do live in a white country authorized by whiteness, and all of my Negro-ness is contorted disturbedness of another version of whiteness. So that's my life, and that's how I orate it. So when I came out in this white world, I actually came out completely contorted with a blood ailment, and I came out in the year 1986. So interesting enough, because we are being tracked via the internet, and I'm orating through a technical device, that I will be 40 years old. Now, that means nothing to me. The last time I even acknowledged my age was at the year 33. And I won't go into where I was there because I had a psychological break. And as I said, I've been previously, I've been a mentally ill person living in a disturbed functionality. So again, I won't go to what. There wasn't anything at 33, it just was. I have been a user of image photography, vlogging, and whatever y'all call it these days for the ability to stay alive. Because being, as we call, aware of my existence makes me ill. I have on all of these straps, as you guys can see. I suffered from a complete nervous breakdown that started around March 2025, and it carried into about March 2026. I had already removed a blood curse off my life, and I already had worked with Satan in the crypt and lived in the crypt in order to just commune with darkness. However, um, the pressures of existence in this body, as the person you're hearing, it became satanic once again. There's nothing else to say. Like it's a horrifying existence. So thankfully, I've been here many times before. As I said, I've been disturbed since I was born into the Babylon world. Shout out to the carbonation. And people think if I rep that, it just is. You gotta think, I live in a disturbed life as a hermit. So when I even hear a little bit of something that can engage with my senses, um, as y'all, if you ever are on the August Marie YouTube, all of the playlists are for psychological reconditioning and the ability to use the brain maybe if you decide to. So my brain came out warped, and I was raised under cultistic psychos, and then I chose and participated to degrade myself every fucking day of my goddamn life in order to survive. And then when my son was born in 2020, I woke. And then when my daughter was conceived in 2022, I became my own I am. So I just wanted to say thank you to myself just for the ability to know this is darkness. even though I look at myself and I am proud because I've been an obese person, an extremely morbidly obese person my whole life. And I do know because now by the date that's under this video, people to orate and talk completely different. However, I know what it's like to actually be the size that I am in the physical body with my organs. And that is extremely painful. I will leave myself a drop that I actually started my personal endeavors of the version I am today via YouTube. And the other times I've been chronically talking out loud and videotaping it and posting it for myself during the time of darkness and death, which I still live in 100% darkness and death. Um, I'm actually making tea, just a real tad bit. Y'all know I have autism, so I talk any which way, however, whenever. My voice can change, the topic can change. But in our tea today, I am grateful because you guys know that within all my measures, I try to be in naturalism. I actually have my natural papers. This is called Elements, if y'all know anything, right? I'm a fire sign. As I said, I was going to be born, I would be alive 40 years in August 5. So it's July 1, 2026. And I would be here on this destituted place 40 years starting on August 5. So we'll shout out to the fire element. But right now we're actually in the water element. We're in Cancer season. If you do, I love astrology. It's interesting, fun, unique. And it applies to me as a Leo. But in here we have today hibiscus, which is amazing, soursop, cane. And I would need to add some dandelion, but we're out. So that's wonderful. So we are using, let me take one of my compressions off my fingers. We're using what we call dust, or we call this ground, Groun, which has to do with actually the ground sign. I'm actually legally married to a ground sign. And we're using that to centralize my nervous system and to engage my senses today, which is why I'm speaking so eloquently to myself. Usually I'm in a crying spell, hyperventilating, self-mutating, destroying myself, and doing dark magic, which is very, very pressing. I do root work, and I usher people into hexes. So I do that. I've been doing that for months. As you guys know, both my children, one was murdered by me, one was murdered by others, and inevitably their souls live in damnation, and they're lost in translation. So as their mother, my real name is actually Lindsay. As their mother, Lindsay, to my son August and my daughter Marie, my goal right now until the 5, so once I turn 50 here on this earth, if I acknowledge that, if I'm still here, because hopefully I wouldn't be, but I have been interested in transitioning out of this physical realm my whole life since I've been a child. And it's not yet happened. And euthanasia, in the end of life, that's all an option. It's just that hasn't been yet, which is why I'm orating at this point, because I don't understand how it's possible to still be here, especially if you've ever been a mother who lost children. And, I was home wrecked and jailed, put into custody. I come from the most disturbed functioning humans that my soul could exist within my realm of understanding. And I don't go into detail because this is about August and Marie, the children of the person speaking. But to talk about how they are no longer here and not with us as a family group is because of the disturbed beings that I came through to be me. The people I met through the existence of coming to this earth. And it has continued to be the most horrific experience unfolding until you're living as I write. Many of my accounts have been taken as a sadist speaker, but I call them zombies in the house of the fucking dead.